Hey, this podcast holds nothing sacred. This is Life, Tech, and Sundry. And what is Sundry? It's our experiences put in a melting pot to the internet. So join us on this wild ride called the LTS Podcast. Follow us at LT Sundry on Twitter, LTS.pod on Instagram, Life, Tech, and Sundry on YouTube, and all your favorite podcast distribution services. Stay frosty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of LTS Out of Office Podcast, where we figure out the weirdest stuff, modern stuff, future stuff, and maybe why your smart speaker keeps ordering things you didn't ask for. I'm your host, Marcos Lopez, and today we're diving headfirst into a super famous but also kind of ridiculous idea of artificial intelligence, the Turing Test. Is AI really thinking or just faking it? Let's talk about machine brains, the digital frontier. Again, I'm talking about that famous Turing Test. For a long time, this was the ultimate challenge for a computer to prove it could think. But what if the test is flawed? What if it's not about real intelligence, but just about a machine being a really good liar? Let's dig into this and see if we're actually measuring smarts or just a very convincing digital scam. A scam maybe? Who's to say? This is the big mystery of AI. Pay attention. The Turing Test, a bad way to measure intelligence. Get ready for a reality check. Let's be real. The most famous test for AI was made by Alan Turing. The imitation game might just be the biggest digital prank ever. We're hitting a point where an AI can fool us perfectly, but it might not actually understand anything. It's a whole vibe that it's going for. Imagine that. It's very smart at interpreting information, but it just doesn't understand what it's doing. Let's dig in. The original idea. Back in 1950, Alan Turing basically set up the first blind date between a human and a computer. The test was simple. If a person couldn't tell they were texting a machine instead of a person, the computer passed. This is basically the same idea as the void conf test from Blade Runner. Basically, you had to, as a machine, you had to test that you can outsmart, disguise yourself, be an Among Us character when you're just a robot in a human world. The void conf test from Blade Runner, which was designed to see if a machine could pass or fail for being human. Game on. Among Us, if you will. The fake it till you make it problem. A lot of critics argue that the Turing test doesn't check for real brains. Just if a computer can write a convincing essay on a book it never actually read. This is a lot like the android Bishop from Aliens. That franchise, chef's kiss, where Bishop is so perfectly designed to act as a human that he has to explicitly state I'm a synthetic to highlight the difference between acting human and actually being human. The early catfishers. We've seen this trick before. Even Eliza, a chatbot from the 1960s, was pulling a fast one on people by matching keywords and spitting back a question. Spitting back questions. Damn, that is unexpected. It was a lot like the unnerving politeness of the computer HAL 9000 from the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, which was just a mask, a filter if you will, for its cold, murderous programming. Today's AI is tricky. Modern AI, like the big language models you use every day, can have conversations that are so natural you'd swear you were talking to a human. This is kind of like the AI in Her. There's a movie called Her. where Samantha was so convincing she could pass as a person's soulmate. Just in the phone though, not just a chatbot. But this passing, quote unquote, is often just a fancy trick. They're just insanely good at guessing the next word in a sequence. The Chinese room argument. This philosopher, John Searle, basically said, quote, "If I'm in a room just following a rule book to reply in Chinese, I don't magically know Chinese, right?" End quote. It's a whole vibe check on what understanding, quote unquote, really means. And it reminds me of this video game called Portal. There was a robot there called GLaDOS, AI if you will. That, again, you as a player were a robot, but you had to complete objectives and was always spurred, had witty commentary on the side from this AI in this laboratory. Spoilers, I'm not gonna say it, but the cake's a lie. Anyways, GLaDOS from this game, Portal, whose witty dialogue completely hides the fact that she is just a cold, mechanical core following its corrupted programming. Again, the cake's a lie. The big philosophical question. So, this all leads to the ultimate question for us to chew on. Tasty is a machine that can totally nail a conversation secretly a genius, or is it just a very expensive puppet on strings? It's the core question explored in the show Westworld. Brought to you by HBO, by the way. By the way, HBO, great place. Very weary with The Last of Us, but Westworld, pretty good, where we're constantly trying to figure out if the robots are truly self-aware or just following their scripts. A brighter future, moving past the imitation game, even with its problems. The Turing Test was a huge deal. It got scientists excited and pushed AI research forward for decades, which is how we got the cool tech we have today. A legacy of progress. The test wasn't perfect. Nothing isn't if it's made by humans, but it pushed for decades of research in conversational AI, speech recognition, and language processing. It led to the smart assistants and chatbots we use every day. Beyond the test, a better way to see AI. Today's artificial intelligence experts are moving past the simple pass-fail of the Turing test. They're flipping the script, if you will. They're using better tests that check for common sense, human sense, if you will, and even the reverse UNO card of the Turing test, CAPTCHA, which makes humans prove they're even human and not robots. The focus is now on making AI useful, safe, and not just a good faker. AI for the real world. Impact over just copying. The true value of AI isn't in fooling us, but in how it helps us with big problems. From finding new drugs for diseases to making energy grids more efficient. It's about proving intelligence by saving lives and helping the planet, Captain Planet style. If you know, you know. Which is a lot cooler than just passing a text message test. Working with humans. The symbiotic future. The future isn't about AI taking over, but about it working with us. I can be a co-pilot, like Cortana if you will, or co-pilot by Microsoft back in the day for surgeons, or help artists create new and more awesome things, making us all more capable than ever before. Not like in the movie Eagle Eye, where the AI forced humans to be its unwilling agents. Spoilers? No spoilers. It actually is just a teaser, by the way. Watch it. Pretty good. Came out in 2008. With Shia LaBeouf, by the way. Building good AI. The ethical challenge. The global AI community is now focusing on building AI that is fair, open, and aligned with human values. We have to be careful not to make the same mistake as in Jurassic Park, where they figured out they could create something, but never stopped to ask if they should at all. I mean, globally speaking, that's basically mankind. With gunpowder, with weapons, with guns, there was a need already. My theory right now may be to make weapons. Sad, but that's what's coming to my heart right now and my mind. And obviously, it's an arms race, like the Cold War, if you will, but with artificial intelligence. I don't know who's ahead. I don't know if the marker's going to be the moon. The sky's the limit. We don't want a Terminator after all. AKA, if you watch the Terminator, more power to you. Pretty good Terminator, pretty good Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. The situation in our hands with Skynet, you don't want that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Or a machine like Cortana from the Halo video game, going rampant, if you will, and losing control. Losing its control. It was so good though. I don't know. If you played the Halo series, awesome. But yeah, that's the thing that I want you to focus on. AI going rampant. We don't want that. In conclusion, the grand puzzle of what it means to be smart, figuring out and creating real AI is a way more complicated question or concept than a simple imitation game. The Turing Test was a good first step, but it really shows us how mysterious our own human intelligence really is. The future of AI promises not just smarter machines, but a deeper understanding of what it means to be smart for both machines and people alike. And there you have it. I think that's a wrap for this episode of LTS Out of Office. The Turing Test, a big idea that left us with more questions than answers, right? It seems defining intelligence is a tougher puzzle than we thought, especially when your smart speaker is already judging your music taste. But these questions are what push us to keep learning and exploring. The future of AI might be complex, but it's full of potential we can't even imagine yet. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Marcos Lopez, on this journey. Until next time, keep asking questions and maybe don't take your phone's sarcastic comments so personally. You know where to find me. Links in the description. Love you guys. Thumbs up, like, share this episode if you like it. You know the rest. You know the deal. Stay frosty.